Army of the Dead is a Netflix film produced and written by Zack Snyder, and it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, way too long. I watched this movie twice, which to me was enough. The first time I watched it, I was a little confused if I had the right movie or not. The second time I watched it, I tried to watch it with an open mind, and I ended up finding more issues with the film. Whether it's unnecessary dialogue, weird zombie moments, or just contradictions. To me, this film felt like I was watching someone's dream that didn't quite make sense. In this review, I'm going to mention some of my favorite moments and plenty of moments that didn't make sense. So in the start of the film, a crash occurs between a couple and a group of soldiers who were transporting top secret cargo. The cargo is, of course, a zombie. So one of the soldiers decided to call it in on the radio, and what annoyed me about this scene is the lack of urgency and their delayed responses to the woman on the radio who was urging them to get out of there as quickly as possible and to forget about the crate. Why did it take the soldiers so long to inform the other soldiers to just leave it? Of course, they all ended up getting killed by the zombie. They were missing a lot of shots. They ended up dying as well. For the next 10 minutes, we get nothing but slow motion, Elvis Presley, and a guy on a parachute about to die. After the unnecessary long slow motion scene, it shows the infection being contained by a wall of shipping containers. I'm not even sure how this is possible and how the infection never spread farther than Vegas. But somehow they were able to contain the infection. So over the next few scenes, we meet Scott, who's the main character. We also meet Tanaka, who offers Scott a job to go into the quarantine zone and get $200 million from the safe beneath his casino. One thing I found unrealistic is the meeting that happens in the middle of this diner. Tanaka, who asks Scott to go into the quarantine zone, which I'm sure is illegal, and that he would give him $50 million to divvy up between whoever he decides to bring with him on the job. I don't think this is a conversation you would have in the middle of the diner, in the middle of the day, where everyone can hear you. In the next scene, we meet Kate, who we later discover is Scott's daughter. We are also introduced to the quarantine camp, which is right outside of the walls of the shipping containers. Definitely safe. The camp is currently being evacuated due to the bomb that will be dropped on Vegas in a few days. What confused me about this is why are the people even still living outside of the wall of shipping containers or anywhere near Vegas? Also meet Gita, who lives inside the camp with her 2 kids, and she is planning to go into the quarantine zone to get money from a slot machine so that her and her kids can have a better life. Kate asks her to promise not to do anything stupid, but of course she didn't listen. So next we meet Cummings, who is a creep. In this scene, he mentions the first sign of infection is belligerence and acting outside of the social norm. This information was never used in the remainder of the film. Next, we are introduced to Maria, who gave me a lot of secondhand embarrassment throughout the film. Over the next few scenes, they recruit more people and they all meet Tanaka, who goes over the plan to get the money from the safe. And of course, we get more Snyder slow motion. When will it end? And then this, the only smart character in the film. We do get a few good character moments between Scott and Kate, who have a strained relationship, but he isn't exactly Father of the Year. First off, he watched his daughter get hit on by the creep Cummings and just stood there looking and did nothing about it, as well as allowed Kate to come with him on this job for $15 million, even though a few scenes ago he mentioned that he's probably going to die. It took Scott less than a few seconds to agree to let Kate go with him into the quarantine zone. So next we meet Lily, who we learned took Gita into the quarantine zone and lost her. So in this movie, there seems to be different types of zombies, although it's not explained well or even necessary to include those details if they're not going to be used later on. For example, when we first went into the quarantine zone, they saw a bunch of zombies laying around. They called those shamblers that apparently wake up at some point. We also meet the Queen Zombie, who is accompanied by what they refer to as fast ones. And obviously the fast ones have all the speed because the Queen definitely doesn't. We also meet the King Zombie, who likes to watch from a distance. I didn't really understand the point of having a King and Queen Zombie and that implying that the queen is pregnant if it didn't result to anything. We also see a different type of zombie, which they refer to as the hibernating zombies. In the movie, they also mentioned that in order not to wake them, you couldn't shine light in their eyes or touch them. But somehow the zombies wake up when a pan is knocked onto the floor, even though a few seconds before, a character screamed right into the face of a zombie. At this point in the movie, nothing is making sense. The hibernated zombies is definitely one of my favorite scenes. I wish this theme would have been used more throughout the film. However, I didn't like as Chambers was fighting off the zombies, the rest of the group just stood there watching her struggle instead of helping her. And her so-called friend listened to some guy who deemed her a goner and said to leave her, even though he had suspicions of him being the reason for her getting left behind. Obviously, he wasn't a good friend to begin with. So we do get a cute little moment of Scott and Kate trying to work out their relationship and to figure out what the problem was between them. Scott basically believed that Kate blamed him for her mother's death, but she didn't. She understood him having to kill her mother. She just hated him because he never was there after her mother's death. She let her dad know that she can't just turn off hating him after so many years. I mean, if I was in her position, not knowing if I would live or die, I would probably just forgive him, but that's just me. Moments like these throughout the film would probably have been better if we had to see their relationship prior to this. So eventually they make it to the basement so that the safe can be opened. But then they realize that the safe is more than likely booby-trapped, so they would need a way to trigger the traps. So Vando decides that they could use a zombie to walk through the traps willingly, which obviously wouldn't work if everyone was behind the zombie and not in front of him. On the second attempt, it worked because apparently warming up a zombie hand in the microwave is effective. I just don't get how this would work. The booby traps that the zombie triggers are very over the top, and I found them to be very unrealistic. Gotta love movie logic. So outside, we learned that Lily made a deal with Martin to get a vial of the Queen's blood. He decides to cut off her head instead, which is apparently more valuable than $200 million. Meanwhile, on the roof, things aren't going so well. Smoking while using gas. Brilliant. And we also learned that the bomb is now scheduled for 24 hours sooner, which means they only have a few hours to get out of Vegas. So in the basement, Dieter asks for 30 minutes of silence so he can concentrate on opening the safe. But in the background, everyone literally continues to have a conversation. I mean, why even include this dialogue if every other line is going to be a contradiction of the other? With everyone carrying on conversations in the background, Dieter finally is able to open the safe. While everyone is celebrating the opening of the safe, the king has discovered the body of the queen and is mourning the loss of her unborn zombie baby. Yes, that's right, a zombie was able to get pregnant in this film. So Maria starts confessing her unrequited love to Scott, which was never mentioned or implied prior to this moment. We also learned that Kate is now missing. What a surprise. So Maria dies, a zombie starts breakdancing. Hold up. So flesh-eating zombies are out here breaking necks instead of biting? Anyways, while everyone makes a break towards the ladder to escape the horde of the dead who have now descended into the basement, Dieter and Vando decide to go back for the money instead of going up with the rest of the group to escape. Definitely a smart move. Martin betrays them as predicted. He gets killed by some zombie tiger. Meanwhile, Vando is making good choices. You know, at this point, I'm just ready for it all to end. I will point out though, I like the relationship that developed between Dieter and Vando. I just don't understand why Dieter didn't go into the safe as well. Obviously he didn't want to die, so why didn't he just go into the safe? They lose all the money, so at this point, all of this has been for nothing. And I'm questioning my life choices for watching this film. Twice. They make it to the roof and Lily announces she has a plan, which I'm not sure what it was. I will say that taking your eyes away from a zombie is probably not a smart idea. Scott takes a helicopter to find Kate. The zombie king somehow teleported to where they are. The zombie hops in the helicopter, bites Scott, they scuffle. Peter gets shots in the arm, plane crashes. Just as Vegas is getting blown up by the bomb, Kate ends up having to kill Scott, but not before he reveals he has stashed away some money, somehow, in the midst of all that chaos. Luckily, they were able to somewhat repair their relationship. So what really annoyed me was the ending of the movie. It just did not make any sense. Somehow, Bando is still alive and able to get out of the safe, emerge from the rubble of a bomb, bring bags of money with him, walk miles and miles, commandeer a car, drive to an airport, and buy a plane, all while not knowing that he's bitten. Why did it take him so long to turn when everyone else turned in a matter of minutes? The good thing about the movie is that it definitely made me laugh, although most of it made no logical sense whatsoever. Will I watch it again? Twice is enough.
Easy peasy Japanesey.
I think it's fine if he's Japanesey.
Thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think of the movie. Also, don't forget to like the video for more and subscribe. More reviews coming soon. Also, they were not that far away from the nuke. How are they not annihilated?